12 noon on Monday, August 9th, 2021. Well, this episode, I'm going to reveal my top 10 greatest pitchers of all time according to my analysis, my perspective, my assumptions, and my opinion, and my opining. The 10 greatest pitchers of all time. You can agree or disagree, but listen to the stats. Are some interchangeable? Maybe a little bit. But I think I came up with a good list. See what you think. Before I reveal it, though, I have some honorable mentions. There's 83 pitchers in the Hall of Fame. I can't just leave them out. I gotta give them a little prop. Some honorable mentions, okay? Let's see. I'm gonna start with the old schoolers. Charlie Old Haas Radburn. I gotta give it up for him. I really do. I mean, this guy, 4,527 innings, 1,830 strikeouts, 309 wins. Okay. But he averaged 8.6. I got it right here. This is really something. He averaged, I got him right here. Where is he? 8.6 innings per start. So Charlie Radburn, I mean, what a pitcher. He had a lot of complete games too. Let me I'll do it this way. Charlie Radburn. Here he is. Just a little bit of honorable mention some of these guys. He had 527 games, and he completed 502. Come on, Charlie Radburn. I like him. So he's an honorable mention. Kid Nichols. 5,000 innings, 1,881 strikeouts, but 361 victories. You got to mention him. Kid Nichols. Tim Keefe. 5,000 innings, 2,500 strikeouts, 342 wins. Tim Keefe. Got to mention him. John Clarkson. Don't forget about John Clarkson. What did he do? Where is he on my list? Here. Let's see. John Clarkson. One of the most dominant. Here he is. 4,536 innings. 1,978 strikeouts, but 328 wins. Boy, you pass 300 wins, you're good. Lefty Grove, 300 wins. Where is he in my book? Here he is, 3,940 innings, 2,266 strikeouts, but 300 victories. So Lefty Grove, honorable mention. Whitey Ford, highest winning percentage, remember? 69%. 3,170 innings, 1,956 strikeouts, 236 victories. Mickey Welsh. This is old school, guys. Where's Mickey Welsh on here? Here he is. 4,802 innings, 1,850 strikeouts, 307 wins for Mickey Welsh. And Ed Plank. Remember him? He was number one in ERA. And where is he? Ed Plank. I've got him in here. Ed Plank. Oh, come on. Where are you, Ed? Ed, there he is. 4,495 innings, 2,246 strikeouts, 326 victories. So what do you think on the honorable mention on the old schoolers? I mean, we can't neglect these guys. Robin Roberts, 286 wins. Early Wynn, 300 wins. Red Faber, 254 wins. Oh, let's see, who else? Red Ruffing, 273. Amos Rusey was not bad, 246. Burleigh Grimes, 270. Carl Hubble, 253. Ted Lyons, 260 wins. Rube Waddell, Chief Bender, Wade Host. It's just honorable mention, but they're not in my top 10, okay? Dazzy Vance, Wade Hoyt, Joe McKinney, Jesse Haynes, Jack Chesborough. I'm not forgetting you guys. Lefty Gomez, Addie Joss. All right, that's the honorable mention on the old schoolers, but they did not make the cut. Did not make the top 10. In the new schools category, I got to make mention of these guys. Can't leave them out. But they're not in the top 10. They just missed it. Some missed it by that much. Gaylord Perry, 5,350 innings, 3,534 strikeouts, 314 wins. You would think he'd be in the top 10, but he didn't make it. But honorable mention. Don Sutton, 5,282 innings, 3,574 strikeouts, and 324 innings. Very impressive, Don Sutton. But he missed the cut. Phil Niekro, 5,404 innings, 3,342 strikeouts, and 318 wins. Bert Blyleven, 4,070 innings, 3,701 strikeouts, 287 wins. Got to mention him. Tom Seaver, just missed it by that much. 4,782 innings, 3,640 strikeouts, 311 wins. Ferguson Jenkins, 4,500 innings, 3,192 strikeouts, 284 wins. He just missed it. Tom Glavine, 305 wins. John Smoltz, 213 wins and 154 saves, but he had 3,000 strikeouts. You gotta mention John Smoltz. Bob Feller, he served in the military, so he got 266 wins. Mike Mussina had 270 wins. Jack Morris, 254 wins. Jim Palmer, 268 wins. Dennis Eckersey, 197 wins and 390 saves. Pedro Martinez, not enough wins. He had 219. But Pedro had 3,000 strikeouts. Whew! Juan Marshall just missed it. He missed it. Oh, very close for Juan Marshall. 243 wins. Don Drysdale, Catfish Hunter. Don Drysdale, 209 wins. Too low. 224 for Catfish Hunter. Oh, some of the other guys. Goose Gossage, 310 saves. And then Mariano Rivera, 652 saves. Trevor Hoffman, 601. I can't put them in the top 10. Bruce Sutter, 300 saves. Forgot to mention the old schoolers, Dizzy Dean. So who haven't I mentioned? There are 10 guys that are the greatest of all time, according to my analysis. You can agree, disagree, you can shout, but I'm going to go with it. And I'm going to count down from number 10 to number 1. Okay? Are you ready? Are you holding on to your seat? I want everyone to be sitting down. I don't want you to fall off the chair. And if you're standing and holding onto a railing, I don't want you to slip and fall. Get into a chair, hold on to the railing. Here are the 10 greatest pitchers in baseball history. And give me your 10 if you don't agree. Number 10 that made the cut. Randy Johnson. You're saying, why don't you have him higher or, close to being number 1, not number 1? I'll tell you why. He was pretty good, though. I got him number 10, Randy Johnson. 4,135 innings. Excellent. Over 4,000 innings. 303 wins. Good. Member of the 300 win club. Very good. Winning percentage, .49, so he won half his games. Good. Strikeouts, 4,875. That is number 2 on the all-time list. Randy Johnson. Yep. Shutouts, 37. Out of 303 wins, I would have liked to have seen more shutouts. 3.2 ERA. Again, when I mention these other guys, you'll see why they beat him, because they have better ERA. And this is where I got disappointed with Randy Johnson. 100 complete games. Now, some of these other guys, their complete games are off the charts, so that's why they beat him. But Randy made the cut. He should be proud. Number 2 in strikeouts. That was cool. Oh, he also has a perfect game and a no-hitter. Two no-hitters. One of them was a perfect game. I believe his perfect game was past the age of 40. I believe he was one of the oldest to do it, if not the oldest. So Randy Johnson, congrats. You made Ken Artizone top 10 of the greatest pitchers of all time. Number 9. Who beats him, in my opinion? Warren Spahn. 5,243 innings. So he's got more innings than Johnson. 363 wins. He's got 60 more than Johnson. .48 winning percentage, about the same. Strikeouts, not as many. He's 1,700 short of Johnson, but he's got 2,583. But here's where he beats Johnson. 63 shutouts to Johnson's 37. 3.1 ERA, same as Johnson. And this is where he beats Johnson again. 382 complete games, where Johnson only had 100. So I've got Warren Spahn in the number 9 spot. Congrats to Warren. Number 8. Steve Carlton. 5,217 innings. About the same as Spahn. Wow. 329 wins. So he's about 30 short of Spahn. .44 winning percentage. 4,136 strikeouts. He beats Spahn by 1,600. And shutouts, 55. So he's only 8 short of Spahn. But the strikeouts pushed him ahead of Spahn. 3.2 ERA, same as Spahn. And he's got 254 complete games, where Spahn had 382. I'm giving the edge to Carlton because he had the same innings, but he had more strikeouts. Now, you may say Johnson had more strikeouts than Carlton, but he had less innings, which is significant, indicating he has a higher percentage of strikeouts per inning. But Carlton had the 55 shutouts, where Johnson only had 37. So Carlton gets the edge there, and then Carlton has the more complete games, 254, Johnson's 100. So that's why I've got Carlton ahead of Spahn and Johnson. Agree or disagree? He's number 8. Number 7, who beats that? Greg Maddox. What a pitcher. 5,008 innings. So he's the same roughly as Spahn and Carlton. 355 wins. So he's more than Carlton. That's why I push him ahead. He's short of Spahn by about 8. .47 winning, good. 3,371 strikeouts. So he's ahead of Spahn. Carlton and Johnson beat him in strikeouts. But the 355 wins are close to Spahn and more than Carlton and Johnson. 35 shutouts. I would have liked to have seen much more shutouts from Greg Maddox. So he's similar in shutouts to Johnson, but Spahn and Carlton beat him in shutouts. So what would you rather have? The wins or the shutouts? I think the wins push Maddox ahead of Carlton, even though Spahn is just 8 short, so basically they're about the same in wins. But Maddox beats Spahn in strikeouts. See, he's got 3,371, where Spahn 2,583. Even though Carlton beats Maddox in strikeouts, Maddox beats him in wins. Okay. So Carlton and Maddox could almost be interchangeably, but I'm going to give the edge to Maddox because he got more of the wins. The wins push it over Carlton, okay? 109 complete games. Disappointed with Maddox. Should have had way more. Carlton had 254. Maddox had 109. So you can argue that Carlton and Maddox could be 7 or 8. But like I said, Maddox wins in the wins, beats Carlton by 16 wins, see? Even though Carlton beats him in strikeouts, shutouts, and complete games. But they're basically the same in innings. So I could have done both of those guys. So Carlton and Maddox are just about the same. But you got to put one over the other. And my choice is I put Maddox over Carlton, okay? 6 on the list. I know you guys are going to yell at me on this one. But this guy did something that all the other 4 haven't done. Sandy Koufax, number 6. Innings are half of what he's got. 2,324 innings because he had to quit at 12 years because of a sore arm. So Maddox, Carlton, Spahn all have 5,000 innings, and Maddox or Koufax just half. And Johnson has 4,000 innings. Wins, Koufax has 165, so he's way down in wins because it's only 12 years. These other guys played 22 years. Percentage, .431. Strikeouts, pretty high for 12 years. In fact, he averaged more than a strikeout per inning, where the other guys did not. Koufax has 2,396 strikeouts in 2,324 innings. That's more. That's over 1 strikeout per inning pitched. Carlton had 4,136 strikeouts, but it took him 5,217 innings. See? Johnson, he averaged way more than a strikeout per inning. But Johnson's low because of the wins and the complete games. Why do I have Koufax? Here's why I have Koufax, number 6, ahead of Maddox, Carlton, Spahn, and Johnson. Here's why. 40 shutouts in 12 years. He plays 20 years. He's up to 60 or 70 shutouts, but he didn't. 2.7 ERA, that's key too, because Spahn is 3.1, Johnson was 3.2, Carlton 3.2, Maddox 3.1. So Koufax gets the edge in ERA. Also, Koufax beat Maddox in shutouts, even though Maddox had another 8 years more than Koufax. Go figure. 137 complete games for Koufax. So he beats Johnson and Maddox in complete games. Spahn, Carlton, Spahn and Carlton beat Koufax in complete games. But here's where I give the edge to Sandy Koufax, and I put him in the number 6 spot. Who has the second most no-hitters in baseball history? Sandy Koufax, 4 no-hitters, and one of them was a perfect game. Did Maddox pitch a no-hitter? I have to look it up. I don't think he did. Did Carlton pitch a no-hitter? I have to look that up. Did he? If he did, I'll look it up. Spahn, did he have a no-hitter? Maybe he had one. I don't know. Maybe these guys had one hidden away. I can't find it. But I do know the history on Sandy Koufax. 4 no-hitters and 1 was a perfect game. In 12 years. He plays 20 years. He has another 3 or 4 no-hitters. Don't you think? He knew how to finish a no-hitter. In fact, Sandy Koufax could be the only pitcher in Major League history, if he had played more and not had a sore arm, he may have been the first guy to pitch 2 perfect games, because I think he had perfecto in his arm. A perfect game? He may have had 2. Now, Randy Johnson has a perfect game, but he had 2 no-hitters. So that's why Colfax gets the edge over Johnson, because he had 4 no-hitters. Do you agree or disagree there? I know Colfax is low on wins and innings, but his strikeouts are impressive. His shutouts are impressive, Colfax, 40 of them, and 2.7 ERA, which is better than the other guys, and 137 complete games, which is better than Maddox and Johnson. Now, he doesn't match Spahn and Carlton in complete games or strikeouts or wins. But Spahn, Carlton, and Maddox, I don't see 4 no-hitters with them. I don't see a perfect game among them. You got to put Sandy Koufax number 6. You got to do it. You can disagree on that one. Is there any interchangeable? Should I put Koufax higher? I don't know. The 4 no-hitters did it for me. Number 5 on the list, Pete Alexander, old school. Why? He beats Colfax and all the other guys. Why do I put him number 5? 5,190 innings. If you go over 5,000 innings, 373 victories. What is that? I came out to 3rd all time. 53 winning percentage. That's more than half. He won more than half of his games. 2,198 strikeouts, low, but 90 shutouts. That's number 2 all time, behind another guy we'll get to. 2.5 ERA. That beats Colfax, Maddox, Carlton, Spahn, and Johnson. And 436 complete games for Pete Alexander. Why do you put Pete number 5 ahead of the other guys? I do it because of wins, 373, which is better than all the other guys. I put him because of the shutouts, 90 of them, and because of the complete games. He didn't match the other guys in strikeouts, but he did get the 5,190 innings, which Spahn and Carlton have. So number 5, Pete Alexander. Number 3 in wins. 4 on the list, counting down. Cy Young. Now, you're going to argue with me. He has the most wins. But I'll point out some flaws with Cy Young because he's not the number 1 pitcher of all time. Okay? Let me just do this really quick. I'll punch up Cy Young here. Where are you, Cy? Cy Young. I'll point out some flaws that he had. But even though he's one of the greatest pitchers of all time, and I've got him in my top 10, so don't argue with me. I didn't leave him out, but he's number 4. All right, Cy Young, I'll do the positive. 7,356 innings, number 1. 511 wins, number 1 all time. 0.56 winning percentage. I think that's number 2 or 3 on the list. 2,803 strikeouts. Pretty good. That's more than Alexander and more than Spahn. 76 shutouts. That's more than Spahn and Carlton. Alexander had more. 2.6 ERA. Very good. And 749 complete games. That's number 1. So you may say, why isn't Cy Young number 1 on your list? Here's why. He won 511 games, but he lost 315. You got to subtract points. You can't lose 315. He's number 1 in games. No, number 1 in games started. 815 games started, and he appeared in 906, so he had some relief. So I'm taking that away because of the 315 losses. Oh, man. Here's another one. 2,147 runs allowed. That's number one. You can't allow that many runs, even though he had a 2.6 ERA, which is good. And here's another stat. He gave up 7,092 hits. That's number one all time. Cy, you can't do that. If you're going to be in 911 games, you got to cut back on the losses. Now, why did he have so many losses? Because back in those days, you don't come out of the game. And so he got the win or the loss decision. So he appeared in 815, or he started 815, and he completed 749. What's the math? There were 66 games that he came out of when he started. Out of 815, that's unheard of. That is ridiculous, and that's why he has so many losses. If you had relief pitching back then, I wonder if Cy Young would have 600 wins. Because let's say he has the lead in the 6th or 7th, and he comes out, you get the reliever in, and he comes in and wins the game. Cy Young gets the decision, right? But back in those days, Cy Young had the lead in the 6th or 7th. He stayed in until the 9th, and then the 8th and the 9th inning, he gave up winning runs and lost the game. Following me? So, Cy, I put you number 4. Be happy with that. I didn't put you higher, but I am impressed with the 7,356 innings, 511 wins, 76 shutouts, very good, and 749 complete games. But out of those complete games, you had a lot of losses. So that's why I've got 3 other guys ahead of you. Who's number 3? Nolan Ryan. Now you may argue, why isn't he number 1? I'll tell you why. Here's Nolan Ryan, 5,386 innings. Very good. I got to pull up the stats on Nolan Ryan because I'm going to make my argument here. Here he is. Okay, I got him. 324 wins. I like it. .40 winning. So out of all the games, he was a little lower in the winning percentage. Here's what I really like. 5,714 strikeouts. That's number 1. And that's why he's in the 3rd position. He's got 5,000 innings and 5,714 strikeouts. 61 shutouts. Very good. He beats Colfax, Maddox, Carlton, Spahn, and Johnson. Alexander had more, and so did Cy Young. But the edge goes to Ryan because of the strikeouts. And 222 complete games. That's very good because that beats Colfax, Maddox, and Johnson. I have Ryan in the 3rd position, but I don't have him number 1. I'll tell you why. Well, I'll tell you why Ryan is ahead of Young, Alexander, and Colfax. 7 no-hitters. And I believe he had 12 one-hitters. So Nolan Ryan gets the edge over Cy Young because of the no-hitters. I forgot to mention that Cy Young had 3 no-hitters. And one of them was a perfect game. Colfax had 4 no-hitters. But I put Ryan ahead of Cy Young and Colfax because of the 7 no-hitters. He beats Colfax in no-hitters. Also, he beats Colfax in shutouts and complete games. Now, Colfax was on a pace for 5,000 strikeouts if he had 20 solid years. First couple of years, Colfax didn't pitch that much, and that was his prime. Or that could have been his prime. Colfax got 2,396 strikeouts. About half. So double that. He would have been at 5,600 strikeouts, right? On the pace that he was at. He had 382 strikeouts in one season. Ryan had 383 to beat him by 1. So Nolan Ryan is in the third position, but here's the reason why he's not number 2 or number 1. It's because he had 292 losses. I don't like that. That was too many losses. I think Ryan stayed in the game too much. And as a result, when the decision came down, if he pitched 9 innings, he got the loss. He had 222 complete games. 61 shutouts, I like it. But here's another stat that I don't like on Ryan. 2,795 walks. Yikes. Did you know some seasons he had 200 walks? You can't do that. Now, Maddox and all these other guys didn't walk those guys, their batters, very much. So Nolan, the reason why he's not number 2 or number 1 is because of the walks and the losses. But you got to put him in the third position because he's got 5,000 innings. He's got 324 wins. He's got 5,714 strikeouts, 714 strikeouts, 61 shutouts. That's very good. I mean, Colfax had 40. Maddox had 35. Carlton had 55. Spahn 63. Johnson 37 shutouts. See? 3.1 ERA. It's about the same as the other guys. He had more complete games than Colfax, Maddox, and Johnson. Just Carlton had more complete games. So that's why Nolan Ryan earns the third position. And you got to say that 7 no-hitters, nobody will beat that. That is a record. And 12 one-hitters. If the ball bounces a certain way, Nolan Ryan probably has 3 or 4 more no-hitters. He could have had 10, 11, or 12 no-hitters because those one-hitters were pretty good games too. And if the ball doesn't find the hole and the shortstop gloves it and throws him out, maybe he preserves a no-hitter. Wouldn't that have been something? But instead, he has to settle for 7 no-hitters. And that's why he's in the third position. Who beats him? You may argue with me and say, why is he ahead of all these other guys? I'll tell you why. Christy Mathewson is number 2 on my list. Why? 4,780 innings. Okay, good. 373 wins. Number 3 all time. And listen to this. I'll bring up Christy Mathewson just to prove to you why he's in the number 2 position. Christy, are you going to show up on me? I-S-T-Y. Christy, here he is. I got him. He did it in 17 years. 373 wins in 17 years. And the last 2 years, he didn't play that much. So we could say 370 wins in 15 years. What's the math? 370 divided by 15. He averaged 24 wins a season. Christy Mathewson. Okay, that's why I've got him number 2. Here's another reason. .58 winning percentage. I think that's number 2 or 3 all time. Maybe 3 or 4 all time. 2,507 strikeouts. So he was on a pace for about 3,500, maybe 4,000 if he plays another 4, 5, 6 years, right? Wouldn't you say? 79 shutouts. That's number 4 all time, I believe. Let's see, 1, 2, I think there were 3 guys ahead of him on the shutouts. But 79 shutouts. Here's an important stat for Christy Mathewson. 2.1 ERA. 636 games, and his ERA is 2.1. I mean, that beats Ryan, Young, Alexander, Colfax, Maddox, Carlton, Spahn, Johnson. 2.1? Give me a break. Now you say ERA, that's how much runs you give up. Remember I told you that Cy Young gave up like a gazillion runs? He was number 1 all time. Christy Mathewson only gave up 1,100 runs in 17 years. You think 1,100 is a big number? Not in 17 years. Not in 600. Not in 4,788 innings. All right, here's another one I like. 435 complete games. Whoa, that blows everyone out except Alexander had 436 by 1. But 435 complete games, he didn't come out. And listen to this, only 188 losses. Remember, Cy Young had 315 losses and Nolan Ryan had 292. But Christy Mathewson, 188 losses. Excellent percentage. Also, Christy Mathewson did something in the 1905 World Series. He started 3 games, pitched a shutout in the first one, second game a shutout, third game a shutout, 27 innings, 0 runs, 3 wins, World Series title, New York Giants, 1905. Christy Mathewson, MVP. Now, could Nolan Ryan pitch 3 shutouts in a 7-game World Series? I don't know. Could Sandy Colfax pitch 3 shutouts in a 7-game World Series? I don't know. Could these other guys, Cy Young? Doubt it. Alexander, Colfax, or Maddox, Carlton, Spahn, Johnson? Christy Mathewson deserves number 2 on the greatest pitchers of all time. Matty was the master of them all. What else can we say about Christy Mathewson? I know he's low on strikeouts, but he didn't need to strike you out because when he threw the ball, either it was a fastball or the changeup, the opposing batter would just either hit it right to somebody because look at the ERA, 2.13 and 373 wins. I mean, he had 4 seasons over 30 wins. He had a high of 37 wins. His winning percentage is 80% during some of those years. And an ERA, I mean, one year he had 1.28. He had 37 games and completed 32. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just blown away by Christy Mathewson's stats. And he did it in around 15 years, 373 wins. Come on. You can't. I mean, he's got the almost 5,000 wins. He's got more, or 5,000 innings. He's got more wins than Ryan, tied with Alexander. He's got more wins than Colfax, Maddox, Carlton, Spahn, and Johnson, okay? He's got the better winning percentage. He's lower on strikeouts because, like I said, the guys would just hit it to the defense, so he didn't have to strike the guy out. He has 79 shutouts, which is like 3rd or 4th all time. 2.1 beats all the other guys, and 435 complete game beats them all, too. You agree or disagree with me? All right, number 1. It's obvious. Who haven't I covered? If you're a baseball nut like I am, if you're a baseball junkie, you should know who's the number 1 greatest pitcher of all time. Nicknamed the Big Train, Walter Johnson. All right, let me pull up Walter Johnson on this thing and let me prove to you why he is the greatest pitcher of all time in my analysis and opinion. 5,914 innings. That's number 2 or 3 all time. Cy Young has the most. 417 wins. That's number 2 all time behind Cy Young. .52 winning percentage. He won half of his games. 3,509 strikeouts. Okay, so he's a member of the 3,000 club. Ryan beats him, Carlton beats him, and Johnson beats him in strikeouts. But Walter Johnson, or Randy Johnson, Steve Carlton, and Nolan Ryan beat Walter Johnson in strikeouts. But Walter Johnson wins in innings and wins and complete games and ERA and shutouts. So the only category where Walter Johnson did not beat the other guys, or the other three premium guys, is in strikeouts. But he had 3,509. So that beats Mathewson, Cy Young, Pete Alexander, and Warren Spahn, and Maddox, and Colfax. He didn't beat Randy Johnson or Steve Carlton or Nolan Ryan. Okay, I'll give you that. But 110 shutouts, number one. So he beats all the other 9 guys in shutouts. And he beat Pete Alexander, who's number 2, who has 90. He beat him by 20 in shutouts. 2.1 ERA, that's number 3 or 4 all time as far as ERA. Come on. And then 531 complete games. I mean, he's a member of the 500 complete game club. There's only 5 members, I think, there. Calvin, Nichols, some of those old school guys. Tim Keefe. There is a flaw, though, on Walter Johnson. He had 279 losses, and I'll tell you why it happened. It's because the Washington Senators were the last place team in their division. There was a saying, the capital, Washington, D.C., where the Washington Senators played. Washington, first in politics, last in baseball. He played for the Washington Senators. They were last place, except for one year, the 1924 World Series. They won the pennant and the World Series. How about that? But the other years, either last place or in the middle of the pack. If Walter Johnson plays for a first place team, either the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Philadelphia Athletics, even the Cardinals, how many losses could he have knocked off and get the win instead? I would say at least 100. If he has a first place team like the Yankees, let's say he has his teammates like Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and Jimmy Foxx or some of these other guys, and all the other home runs and RBIs and all those great players, and let's say they would have scored runs for him. Walter Johnson could have had 600 wins, but he settles for 417. But I will tell you this. I was looking at the stats on Walter Johnson. Listen to this. He won 20 or more games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times. 20 or more wins. And he won over 30, 2 times with a high of 36. 2.17 ERA. So what convinced me on Walter Johnson being better than Cy Young? Didn't have as many losses. He played for the last place team, where Cy Young played for the Boston Red Sox, and they won some pennants and World Series. So as a result, Cy Young got a little bit more in wins. Walter Johnson these last place guys couldn't score the runs for him, because it's proven by the fact that Johnson had a 2.17 ERA. So he's not giving up a lot of runs. But maybe Johnson lost a lot of 2-0 games or 2-1 games. Maybe he gave up 2 runs a game. But his team didn't score anything. They got shut out. I'm sure that happened a lot. That's why Johnson could have had a lot more victories if he played for a better team. Is that an excuse? Yes. But anyways, I'm looking at this also. He only gave up 97 home runs, and a lot of those probably were inside the park. If you pitch 5,914 innings, yet you only give up 97 home runs. So in 21 years, he gave up about 5 home runs a season. Would that be right? Yeah. 21 years, 5 home runs a season, indicating these guys could not hit the ball out of the park or inside the Parker off Johnson. That's a stat that nobody thinks about. Listen to this. In 5,914 innings, he had 4 balks. Balk. You know, a man's on base, and you twitch a little bit or go off the rubber when you're pitching. It's called a balk, and the guy on base gets an extra base. He had 4 in 5,114 innings. Now, 5,914 innings. All right, hit by the pitch. He only hit 200 batters in 21 years. That's a good ratio. That means he hit 10 batters a year. Wild pitches, he had 150 of them. So how many pitches do you think he had? Well, he faced 23,000 batters, and he had 150 wild pitches. What I'm trying to prove the point to you is this. He had control. He had a fastball. Walks, 1,363. So he never had more than his high in walks. He had 99 walks one year. So remember I told you Nolan Ryan had over 2,700, I believe. I forgot the exact number. It was over 2,000. And Cy Young had over 2,000. Here, I'll pull it up just to prove it to you. Why Walter Johnson, let's see, why Walter Johnson is number 1 over Cy Young and Nolan Ryan. How many, let's compare the walks. Cy Young, 1,200 walks. Walter Johnson, 1,300 walks. So they're about the same. Let's go back. And how many did Nolan Ryan walks? Nolan Ryan, how many walks? I told you it was over 2,000. Yeeks. I was right. 2,795 walks. Yikes. So, Walter Johnson had control. I think the fact that he had so many innings and so few home runs, and I think the fact that 531 complete games, that's remarkable. 2.1 ERA. Are you convinced? I think the shutouts do it too. 110 shutouts. Do you know how hard it is to complete a 9-game shutout? You face 27 batters. Maybe you face 30 or 35 because you give up some hits. And you don't allow the run to score. A shutout has to be one of the most impressive stats in baseball pitching history. The win, but to give up no runs. I mean, how hard is that to do? What do you say? What do you think of my top 10? Number 10, Randy Johnson. Number 9, Warren Spahn. Number 8, Steve Carlton. Number 7, Greg Maddox. Could be interchangeable with Steve Carlton. Number 6, Sandy Colfax, because of 4 no-hitters and 1 was a perfect game. Number 5, Pete Alexander. Number 4, Cy Young, 3 no-hitters, 1 was a perfect game. Number 3, Nolan Ryan, 7 no-hitters. Number 2, Christy Mathewson, because of the 373 wins in 15 years. Nolan Ryan played 27. Cy Young played 22. Some of these other guys, too long. And then number one, Walter Johnson, because of 417 wins. He's the only member of the 400 win club, and it could have been 500 or 600. Could have, would have, should have. And the 110 shutouts and the 531 complete games and the 2.1 ERA and 3,500 strikeouts. Walter Johnson, the big train. Ty Cobb said it was hard to hit Walter Johnson because he came in with the fastball. And if that ball was inside, Ty Cobb could not turn on the inside fastball. So he had to get off the plate and he had to work the count. I read Ty Cobb's autobiography, and he said when he faced Walter Johnson, he was hard to hit. If Ty Cobb says that Walter Johnson was one of the hardest pitchers he faced, then you got to believe that Walter Johnson was one of the most dominant pitchers in baseball history. Is he better than all these other guys? According to my analysis, yes. Is there a pitcher on the honorable mention that should be in the top 10? Yes, there is. I mean, some of the old schoolers could have made the top 10. And especially the new schoolers. I mean, Sutton, Perry, Necros, Seaver, Palmer, Marshall. They were all on the edge, but they didn't have enough stats to get it. How do you like my order? Is there anywhere in the order you disagree? Do you think that Pete Alexander in the 5 spot should be higher or lower? He had 373 wins. He had 90 shutouts, 436 games. Cy Young, you think he should be better than Ryan and Mathewson? No. I proved it to you with the losses, and he's number one in runs given up and number one in hits given up. Mathewson had better control, 373 wins, had 79 shutouts, 435 complete games, did it in a shorter period of time. You know, the sad story on Christy Mathewson is that I should look it up so I won't confuse you. But Christy, I've got it right here. He was in the war. And he got some disease, and he died at a young age. Let's see if I can find out what year he died, because he stopped playing. Here it is. Christy Mathewson. He died at age 45. So he played until 1916. And then he died 9 years later, 45. And I think it was tuberculosis. I'm not sure on that, what the cause of. You want to know how he died? Let me see. He was in the war. Yeah, tuberculosis. He was in Saranac Lake, New York. That's where he died, and it was tuberculosis. He had kind of contracted it during World War I, some kind of chemical training exercise. Oh, I feel sorry for Christy Mathewson. What could have been. That's why I put him number 2. I don't think Mathewson beats Johnson because Johnson has more wins, more strikeouts, more shutouts, and more complete games. So that's why Johnson gets the edge over Mathewson. Mathewson gets the edge over Ryan because he has more wins, shutouts, and complete games, and a better ERA. Ryan has the edge in strikeouts and innings. Young has the edge in innings, wins, and complete games, but he comes short in those other areas that I mentioned. You know, losses, and then the hits allowed and the runs allowed. Colfax, a little short because his career was cut short. He gave it up. His left arm hurt too much, so he quit playing. Feel sorry for Colfax. What could have, should have, would have been with him? I think Colfax, he was on a pace for 350 wins, 5,000 strikeouts, probably 70 shutouts, and probably 8 no-hitters. That's on the pace he was on, but he got cut short. Maddox was crafty, 355 wins. I'm impressed, 5,000 innings. 3,000 strikeouts, too. I'm impressed with Maddox. He was a little short on the shutouts and the complete games. Carlton, he was dominant, 5,000 innings, 4,000 strikeouts, 55 shutouts. I like it. 250 complete games. Spahn, he's good on the innings, 5,000, 363 wins. Short on strikeouts, shutouts 63, complete games good. Johnson, dominant on strikeouts. 303 wins. I like the 300 win club. Short on shutouts, short on complete games. So I'll say it one more time and then I'll cut off. Randy Johnson, number 10. Warren Spahn, number 9. Steve Carlton, number 8. Greg Maddox, number 7. Sandy Koufax, number 6. Pete Alexander, number 5. Cy Young, number 4. Nolan Ryan, number 3. Christy Mathewson, number 2. And the greatest pitcher of all time, Walter Johnson. What could have been. Instead, he put up numbers that will not be broken. Do you think that 110 shutouts will be broken? No. Do you think Christy Mathewson, do you think 373 wins in 15 years will be broken? No. Nolan Ryan, do you think 5,714 strikeouts will be broken and 7 no-hitters will be broken? No, it will not. Cy Young, you think 511 wins will be broken and 749 complete games will be broken? No. Colfax, you think 4 no-hitters in 12 years will be broken and 1 was a perfect game and he could have pitched a second perfect game if he had kept playing because he was very dominant. You think that will be broken? No. Greg Maddox, 355 wins in 5,000 innings. Impressive. Steve Carlton, 4,136 strikeouts. Very good. Warren Spahn, 363 wins, 382 complete games. Very good. And Randy Johnson, 4,875 strikeouts, 2 no-hitters, 1 was a perfect game. He's number 2 in strikeouts. All these guys, who would I want for Game 7 of a World Series? And I'm the visiting team, and the home team is behind, and they come up to bat in the bottom of the 9th. Who do I want pitching out of these guys? Give me Walter Johnson. Game 7, 9th inning. I need 3 outs. Give me Christy Mathewson next. Then if I need a strikeout, give me Nolan Ryan. If I need a left-handed strikeout guy, give me Colfax. If it goes the extra innings, I need Cy Young. If I need a crafty slider, I need Greg Maddox. If I need a strikeout again, I need to go to Randy Johnson. All right, I've been opining. What I'm doing is I'm letting this video go to the 1 hour mark. What else can I say? Who would you pick for your top 10? Send it to me. I'm interested. But you got to prove it with stats. You don't just say, I like the guy. Show me the stats. I proved it to you here with these stats. And this book that I wrote, they see me? That's me. All right. Thanks for watching the video, and I'm out.